Hello, everyone. You're listening to Psychology Outside the Box. The internet is full of psychology wannabes and posers who are trying to replace me. Well, it's payback time. My name is Dr. Flower. I have a PhD in psychology, so I'm not a wannabe or a knockoff. I've been teaching college and university courses for 20 years. Psychology is a vast field that connects to many things in your life. If you have a curious mind, you're definitely in the right place. This podcast will be interesting and informative, fun but factual. I will open your mind to new ideas and new ways of thinking. So sit back and enjoy the ride. To be or not to be a parent? That is the question for today. After much thought, my wife and I decided that we did not want any children. Problem was that by then we already had 2 of them. Having or not having children is an important personal choice made by an individual or a couple together. 60 or 70 years ago, the decision was simple and easy. All couples were expected to have children, and this was considered necessary for personal fulfillment. If you were childless, there was something wrong with you. You were shamed or pitied by others. You were made to feel that life would be meaningless and shallow. People would shake their heads and wonder what kind of horrible accident made you impotent or infertile. They would say stupid things like, "What's the matter? Do you have a sleepy pee-pee?" Or else, "What happened? Did you get fired from the sperm bank?" Or people might ask, "Are you sure you're doing it right?" Well, gosh, maybe not. Can you show me in graphic detail how you do it? Today's situation is very different. We're in no danger of running out of people, so the notion that you've got some kind of responsibility to have children went out the window. Nowadays, we know that the chances of achieving happiness in life are about the same whether you decide to have children or not. That is my takeaway message. You have a real choice. This decision is life-changing, but there is no longer a right or wrong answer. No moment is more life-altering than when your first child is born. Gone are the days of thinking only of yourself, only a semblance of free time, and forget about having a neat and tidy house. And when the kids get older, you live in a 3-bedroom house, but somehow you still end up with the whole family sleeping in the same bed. Cause and effect or just coincidence? Before I had children, I used to have all my hair. Really, I did. Now my only source of pride is that I have slightly more hair than Homer Simpson. Baby Mania on Instagram has more than 4,000 posts. In 2017, Beyoncé's Instagram post announced her twins with a beautiful photo of herself surrounded by flowers with her enlarged belly on display. This post was the most shared ever on Instagram. Jessica Alba, the former actress who runs a billion-dollar organic baby goods empire, regularly posts Instagram images of her family for her millions of followers. Jessica has 3 children with her husband, Cash Warren, daughters Honor and Haven and son Hayes. "My heart walks around outside my body," Alba wrote on Instagram on Mother's Day in 2021, sharing a photo of herself surrounded by her children. This was a quote from Elizabeth Stone. It means that making the decision to have a child is momentous. Your love and concern are so intense that it's as if a piece of your heart is outside in the world, completely vulnerable. When they're happy, you are too. When one of them is going through a tough time, you feel their pain. The life of the average married woman in the 1950s was very different from today. It was a time that saw younger marriages, more kids, and few divorces. Young girls were supposed to be housewives instead of educated professionals. Very few women worked after getting married. They stayed at home to raise the children and keep house. Dad's role was to be the breadwinner. Dinner would be on the table, ready and waiting for the husband on his return from work. The house would be clean and tidy, the children fed and washed. The man was considered the head of the household in all things. Should a woman find herself in a loveless or violent marriage, she was often trapped. She had no money of her own and no career. But many changes have happened in the last 70 years or so. As Dorothy said in the Wizard of Oz movie,
"Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore."
likewise, we too are now in a strange and unfamiliar place, far from what used to be comfortable surroundings. The landscape related to families has changed a lot. Many changes were triggered by the gender equality movement. More women are getting an education and have jobs outside the home, often in what used to be male-dominated professions. The average age of marriage has increased from the early 20s to the early 30s. There are fewer traditional marriages with many couples living together instead, and more young people are living with parents or grandparents. Divorce is far more common and is no longer something to be ashamed of. It has become easier and more acceptable in our society. This has led to an increase in single-parent families, usually headed by mom and with one or more children. The fertility or birth rate has dropped as couples are having fewer children or none at all, and also later in life. More never-married women over 40 years of age are having children. Many homosexual couples are now raising children as well. Women have been liberated from some of the ancient stereotypes, but not completely. There's still a lot of cultural pressure to get married and have kids. After all, the biological clock is ticking.
"Just one. You don't have to have lots. I'm begging you, just one child for me."
This kind of pressure may come from a husband, a mother, in-laws, or even friends. And so you and your partner start thinking it just might be time. Then the questions start popping up. How will children impact our lives? What do we have to give up? What will having kids do to our marriage? Will kids make us happier? Or will we just be tired and stressed and poor? So, you do what most of us do. Ask Google. You hit enter and the results are endless. Where do you begin? The year was 1976. Ann Landers was a popular and widely read advice columnist whose daily commentary was published in over 1,200 newspapers in the United States and Canada. People wrote to her with many questions and problems, and she answered. One of her columns from 1976 turned into a survey on parenthood. If you had it to do all over again, would you have children? This is the question Ann Landers asked, and 10,000 women answered. To her horror, 70% said that if they had known then what they know now, they would not have children. Lots of people were alarmed. This informal survey had flaws, and the results were not especially accurate, but it brought this issue out into the open. Afterwards, many people began to discuss and debate this controversial topic. The debate continues to the modern day. Across the decades, there has been a lot of research that looked at the relationship between children and happiness. According to a report in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology that reviewed 188 related studies, people typically experience boosts in happiness after becoming parents. This is called the happiness bump, and it happens right after a baby is born, but tends to disappear over the next 2 years. The General Social Survey is a regular, ongoing interview of U.S. households conducted by the National Opinion Research Center. For the past 50 years, they have collected a wide range of high-quality data from the adult population. Data from the General Social Survey collected between 2010 and 2018 were used to look at the relationship between happiness and children. More than 6,200 adults aged 18 to 50 participated in the surveys. This huge sample and careful data collection methods give us confidence that the results are very accurate. When considering the people who indicated being very happy, 41% of married couples with children were in this category. But results for couples without children were almost exactly the same, with 40% saying that they were very happy. Both groups seem to have the same level of contentment with their lives. A report by Princeton University and Stony Brook University, published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science, found very little difference between the life satisfaction of parents and people without kids, once other factors such as income, education, religion, and health were factored out. Arthur Stone, one of the study's co-authors, said in an interview that,
"I choose an orange because I like oranges. You choose an apple because you like apples. There's no reason to think that your experience should be any better than mine."
Having kids is different than not having kids. It doesn't mean that one will always be better than the other. It really depends on what we're looking for. They did find one difference between parents and the childless. Parents tend to experience more highs and lows. They have more joy in their lives, but also they have more stress and negative emotions as well. Watching children grow is one of life's greatest joys, but stress over wanting them to have a good life can occur at any time. Published in the American Journal of Sociology in 2016, one study looked at the happiness levels of people with and without children in 22 different countries. They found that the extent to which children make you happy is influenced by whether your country has child care policies such as paid parental leave. Happiness was lowest in the United States. Other countries such as Spain, Hungary, Portugal, Sweden, and Finland did much better. Apparently, the United States provides minimal assistance to parents in several areas, including paid parental leave, mandatory paid sick and vacation days, subsidized child care, and work schedule flexibility. And parenthood is also unusually expensive in the United States. Writer Jennifer Senior notes in her book, All Joy and No Fun, that children cause a couple's most frequent arguments. More than money, more than work, more than in-laws, more than annoying personal habits, communication styles, leisure activities, commitment issues, bothersome friends, and even sex. She may be right. Parents will always be quick to talk about the blessings their children provide, but this may not be the whole story. Parenting is a constant battle between going to bed early to catch up on sleep or just staying up late to enjoy some peace and quiet. They are certainly bundles of joy, but so much more. Many parents will say kids make them happier.
I'm happy being a parent. I may be stressed, sleep deprived, and sorely in need of me time, but I'm very satisfied with my life. Isn't it possible that I could be just as happy as someone without kids? Even if they have more time to sleep and take care of themselves? I'm very, very happy. Yes, I'm crying right now, but these are tears of joy, not pain or sorrow.
So having kids doesn't necessarily make people happier, but parents experience both more daily joy and more daily stress than non-parents. This results in a roller coaster of highs and lows. Life without children is simply much calmer and more stable. Child-free couples are more likely to have a clean house, a full bank account, and quiet vacations. Research shows over and over again that having children is not a guarantee of happiness, even though parents think it will make them happier. This phenomenon is known as the parenthood paradox or parenthood gap. Even when we get what we want or think we want, we are not necessarily as happy as we thought we would be. Our minds trick us. It goes to show that once again, we suck at predicting what will make us happy, as explained in Dan Gilbert's Stumbling on Happiness. Based on personal experience, I must say that you learn a lot as a parent. For example, always check the height of ceiling fans before giving a toddler a ride on your shoulders. How I learned this lesson is not important. Everyone talks about motherhood like it's this wonderful thing, a blessing that should be welcomed every time. But this is old-fashioned thinking. We should not glamorize parenthood. It's not butterflies and rainbows all the time. We should talk about it honestly and openly. It should be accepted that motherhood is not for everyone. Choosing to live without children is not an insult to the sanctity of motherhood. It is just another very difficult decision that women or couples must make. It is not any different than choosing to be well educated and getting a job outside the home. Having children can certainly lead to happiness, but they weren't meant to fulfill you. If someone has kids just to continue their family line or to be fulfilled or as an accomplishment, they may not turn out to be the best parents. One question that some people ask childless couples:
Who's gonna look after you when you're old?
yeah, because kids are there for the sole purpose of looking after you. It is messed up when people have kids to look after them. Children aren't the same as insurance policies. Besides, not having children will make it easier to afford that beachfront assisted living facility with the kindly nurses. If you ever get sad about not having kids, just sleep until noon, don't cook or do laundry for a week, and watch everything on TV except cartoons, and then go out and buy yourself a gift. So which choice would you regret more, having children or not having children? I definitely can't answer that for you, and maybe you can't be certain either. If you suck at decision making or just cannot make up your mind, there are lots of places you can go for help. 1. Consult the Ouija board. 2. Ask the really cool Magic 8-Ball. 3. Check your horoscope. 4. Get advice from a palm reader or fortune teller. And 5, of course, the ever-popular flip a coin approach. Okay, so these methods are not really very scientific, but even so, take comfort in the fact that the odds of achieving happiness, either with or without children, are about the same, and no worse than 50-50. And sometimes those are the best odds that we can hope to receive in life. And for sure, 50-50 odds are 1,000,000 times better than your chances of winning the big lottery prize this weekend. Well, all good things must come to an end, including this podcast. But in the words of the Terminator,
I'll be back.
and I hope you will too. If you enjoyed the podcast, please help me to attract more listeners by leaving a positive review. As you may already know, my true purpose and goal is complete world domination. As they say, go big or go home. Where Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, and Napoleon Bonaparte failed, we will succeed. With your help, my followers will grow and grow until we are unstoppable. But even if more listeners do come, you will always be my first and most favorite. Join my next podcast in 7 to 10 days. It would be truly awesome if you could follow Psychology Outside the Box on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, folks, it's all over for today. We're finished. We reached the end. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I will miss you so very much.